In contrast, the yellow cotton scarf round her neck was a bright yellow. The marks it had made were a livid red. Sunita stared at the body. A numbness crept over her, a sense of wanting to run but being rooted to the spot. Later, she'd look back and stifle a guilty laugh about this. But her next thought was, how the hell am I going to clean this up in 14 minutes? Chapter 2. You killed them, you drunk bastard! With a gasp, Santosh Wagh pulled himself from the grip of his nightmare, fingers scrabbling for his spectacles on the nightstand. He pushed them on, squinted at the numbers on his bedside clock and groaned. 4:14 a.m. Drinker's dawn. He pulled himself from bed, avoiding his own reflection in the mirror as he lolloped out of the bedroom. Who wanted to see a hungover man at 4:14 in the morning? A craggy, 51-year-old vision of guilt and shame. Not him. Right now, what he wanted was a little something to guide him gently into the morning. Something to chase away the headache lurking behind his eyes. Something to banish the residual nightmare image seared into his brain. His apartment was empty, stale-smelling. On a coffee table in the front room was a half-empty bottle of Johnny Walker, a glass, and his Glock in its holster. Santosh dropped with a sigh to the couch, leaned forward, finger-tipped his Glock out of reach, then drew the bottle and glass toward him. He stared at the drink in his hand, remembering, casting his mind back to 2006 and the 7 Mumbai train bombs. At the time, he'd been an agent with RAW, India's intelligence agency, and the investigations into the bombings had brought him into contact with Jack Morgan. 2 years later, the car accident that plagued his dreams. It was Jack who had asked him to head up Private India. Jack who had picked him up when he'd needed it most. And if he drank this drink, then it would lead to another drink, and another, and with each subsequent drink he'd fall a little harder and fail Jack a little more. He placed the glass back on the coffee table, pulled his knees up toward him, decided to wait the morning out. He dozed, then woke, then dozed again, and each time he woke the drink was still there, waiting for him. He ignored its call. He chose Jack over Johnny. Even so, it was a relief when the phone rang and duty called. Chapter 3. Santosh leaned on his cane and scrutinized the dead woman who lay on the bathroom floor of room number 1121. Name, he said, without taking his eyes off the corpse. Nisha Gandhi, mid-40s, head-turningly attractive, even dressed down in cotton shirt, t-shirt and jeans. Marveled that her boss could be an investigative genius and still not know that breath mints were useless at disguising the smell of whiskey. Dr. Kanya Yayan, she replied, reading from notes made on her phone. Mean anything to you? No, he said. He angled his head to study the face of the deceased. She was Southeast Asian, middle-aged. Her sharp, attractive features looked incongruous pressed to the hard tiles of the bathroom. She's Thai. From Bangkok, apparently, continued Nisha. Her body was found by the maid. It had been hanging on a hook on the back of the door, but when the door moved, the hook gave way and... Santosh glanced at the damaged door, then back at the body. He scratched salt and pepper stubble on his cheek. No signs of sexual assault, he said, part question, part statement. Apparently not, but Mobeen is on his way. We should have a clearer idea once he's through, replied Nisha. Mobeen was Private India's full-time medical examiner. Time of death, cause of death, manner of death, death was his speciality. He'd arrived with Harry, Private's technology geek, who'd be dusting for prints, scanning the cell phone that Santosh had spotted by the bed. Tech wizard stuff. Santosh shifted his weight on his cane. The car accident had left him with a limp. You do realize it's psychosomatic, don't you? A doctor had told him. I'm keeping the cane, he'd replied.